The email from Marcus arrived on Tuesday morning. Subject line: Annual Children's Medical Foundation Gala Family Table. Hey Maya, so mom and dad are taking their table at the gala this year. It's a pretty high-profile event. Lots of hospital board members, major donors, some politicians. They're bringing Kevin and his wife Aunt Linda and Uncle Robert, and the Harrisons from Dad's firm. Mom specifically asked me to reach out because, well, you know how these things are. It's a networking event for Dad's career and they need guests who can hold conversations about philanthropy, medical advancements, that sort of thing. She didn't want you to feel awkward or out of place. Maybe next year when you're more established in your career? No hard feelings, right? I read it twice, my coffee going cold in my hand. I was a data analyst at a mid-sized consulting firm. At least that's what my family believed. My older brother Kevin was a pharmaceutical sales representative, recently promoted to regional manager. At every family dinner, he dominated conversations with territory numbers and executive meetings. Our parents displayed his sales awards on their mantle like trophies. When I tried to share news about my work, Dad would pat my hand and say, "That's nice, honey. Very technical." Then he'd turn back to Kevin to discuss the house he was buying, the country club membership he was considering. I saved the email to a folder I'd created years ago, Family Moments. It contained similar messages. The one from Mom explaining why I wasn't invited to Kevin's promotion dinner because it's really for his professional circle. The text from Aunt Linda about Cousin Rachel's wedding, saying the venue was intimate, even though Instagram showed 200 guests. The voicemail from Dad about the family photo session where perhaps I should sit this one out since I was still finding my style. I wasn't hurt anymore. Just tired. What they didn't know, what I'd never bothered explaining after years of glazed expressions and dismissive pats, was that I wasn't a consulting firm analyst. I was the director of strategic philanthropy at one of the largest healthcare foundations in the country. My data analysis involved managing over $200 million in annual grant distributions to hospital systems, research institutions and medical charities, including the Children's Medical Foundation hosting this gala. I just finished a 6-month analysis of their programs that resulted in my foundation renewing their partnership grant, $15 million over 3 years. The largest single donation in their history. The press release went out last week with my name listed as lead contact. My family didn't follow my LinkedIn or the foundation's news. Why would they? I just did something with spreadsheets. I pulled up the gala seating chart. My foundation purchased a premier table as part of the partnership announcement, positioned at the front near the stage where I'd be introduced during donor recognition. The foundation's CEO, Dr. Patricia Lim, insisted I attend as her guest of honor. 3 tables away, I found my family's reservation. Table 47. Richard and Susan Chin, Kevin and Jennifer Chin, Linda and Robert Morrison, Thomas and Carol Harrison. I drafted 3 responses to Marcus's email. The first was angry, listing every exclusion. The second was explanatory, detailing my actual position. The third was 2 words, "I understand." I sent the third one and confirmed my RSVP. Saturday evening, I arrived 30 minutes early wearing a midnight blue gown. Professional, elegant, forgettable enough that my family wouldn't think I was trying to compete. Dr. Lim was already there reviewing speech notes. She was in her 60s, a former cardiac surgeon who'd transitioned into healthcare philanthropy after her daughter's successful leukemia treatment at this very foundation. Why? Come meet everyone. This is Dr. Raymond Shaw, Chief of Pediatric Oncology. Sarah Chin, President of the Foundation's board. And Marcus Whitfield, he runs the state's largest healthcare nonprofit network. I shook hands, discussing grant cycles and program outcomes. This was my world. Conversations about survival rates and treatment innovations, funding gaps and research breakthroughs. I felt comfortable here in a way I never did at family dinners where Kevin's sales anecdotes dominated. The ballroom filled quickly. I spotted my family arriving at 6:45. Mom wore her burgundy dress from Kevin's promotion party. Dad had on his good navy suit. Kevin and Jennifer looked country club ready. Aunt Linda adjusted her statement necklace. Uncle Robert checked his phone repeatedly. They didn't see me. Why would they look toward the front tables? The program began with Sarah Chin welcoming guests and discussing the mission. Then she shifted to partnerships. This year, we're especially grateful to announce a transformative partnership with the Healthcare Futures Foundation. Their $15 million commitment will expand our pediatric research programs, upgrade treatment facilities, and provide comprehensive family support services. Polite applause rippled through the room. Dr. Lim squeezed my hand. That's your cue. Sarah continued. The architect of this partnership spent 6 months embedded with our programs, analyzing impact, identifying needs, and crafting a proposal that her foundation's board approved unanimously. Please join me in recognizing Maya Chin, Director of Strategic Philanthropy at Healthcare Futures Foundation. The spotlight found me. I stood, offering a brief wave as genuine applause filled the ballroom. Appreciation from people who understood what a $15 million grant meant. I could see my family's table clearly. Mom's hand froze halfway to her wine glass. Dad's mouth opened slightly, eyes wide behind his glasses. Kevin stared directly at me, his expression shifting from confusion to recognition to panic. Aunt Linda whispered urgently to Uncle Robert. Jennifer had her phone out, probably pulling up my LinkedIn profile. Dr. Lim took the microphone. I've worked in healthcare for 40 years, and what Maya accomplished with this partnership is extraordinary. She didn't just secure funding, she built a relationship. She understands pediatric medicine nuances, family-centered care challenges, and the importance of research that translates to real treatment improvements. The Children's Medical Foundation is lucky to have her advocacy. More applause. I sat down, heart pounding but expression calm. This wasn't about them. This was about children who'd benefit from updated facilities, families who'd receive support services, researchers who'd pursue innovative treatments. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel satisfaction seeing my family's shocked faces. During dinner service, I focused on table conversations. Dr. Shaw discussing clinical trial funding approaches, Sarah Chin exploring additional partnership opportunities. Then I saw Marcus approaching, Jennifer trailing behind, her expression uncertain. Maya? Could we talk for a minute? Kevin's confident posture had deflated. He looked smaller, less certain. I followed them to a quiet corner. Why didn't you tell us? Jennifer asked, bewildered. You're a foundation director? You manage millions of dollars. I tried. Multiple times. But grant allocation algorithms aren't as interesting as sales territory stories, apparently. Marcus flinched. The email. About the gala. Maya, we didn't know. That I was sophisticated enough? That I could hold conversations about philanthropy and medical advancements? You were right to worry about someone being out of place. Just not who you thought. That's not fair, Kevin started, then stopped. Because it was fair. Jennifer looked back at our family table. Your mom is devastated. She should be, I said. She excluded me from an event where I was being honored. That's uncomfortable, isn't it? Maya, wait. Marcus caught my arm, then let go. Can we talk? Really talk? After this. About what? About how you ignored my work for years. How I was never established enough for your events. I'm not angry, Marcus. I'm just done pretending it didn't hurt. I went back to my table. Dr. Shaw was sharing research stories. Sarah leaned over. Everything okay? Just family, I said. They didn't expect me to be here. She looked toward my family's table. One of those situations. Later, Dad's colleague Thomas Harrison stopped by. Miss Chin, he said, smiling kindly, your father often brags about Kevin's career in pharmaceuticals. But he never mentioned you worked in healthcare philanthropy, or that you secured the biggest grant in this foundation's history. When they announced your name, I thought there must be a mistake. He wasn't cruel, but I understood. Dad never talked about me because he never asked what I did. My career's been a little unconventional, I said. But I'm proud of it. You should be, said his wife Carol. Your work will change lives. After they left, Dr. Lim touched my shoulder. Ready to go? I looked toward the exit. My family stood there whispering. Mom kept glancing at me. Kevin was on his phone, probably checking my LinkedIn. Jennifer was crying quietly. I'm ready, I said. The next morning I woke up to 43 missed calls and 60 messages. Apologies. Explanations. Cousin Rachel even texted about how she'd always known I'd be successful. I deleted most of them. Then one email caught my eye. The Children's Medical Foundation wanted to expand our partnership and name a new program after me. I replied right away. This was my life now. Real partnerships built on respect and purpose. Work that saved lives. Success I built myself. 3 weeks later I met Mom and Dad for coffee. They looked nervous. Mom's eyes were tired. Dad's hair was grayer. Thank you for coming, Mom said. We weren't sure you would. I almost didn't, I said. Dad nodded. We owe you an apology. For everything. The gala, the years of ignoring your work, the way we made you feel invisible. You made assumptions, I said. You heard data analyst and decided my work didn't matter like Kevin's did. You never asked what I actually did. Mom's voice shook. I cared too much about appearances. Kevin's job was easy to explain. Yours sounded complicated, so I ignored it. I ignored you. Dad sighed. After the gala, Tom Harrison called me. He asked why I'd never mentioned your career. I had no answer. Because I didn't know. I never bothered to ask. Silence. The cafe hummed with normal life. Families, laughter, warmth. Mom finally said, "Can we start over? I don't expect forgiveness. But can we try to rebuild?" I looked at them. I don't know, I said softly. I built a good life without your support. I'm not sure I want to risk that again. Especially with people who only see my worth when others do. That's fair, Dad said. But I'm willing to try. Fully. With boundaries. Starting with you actually learning about what I do, genuinely understanding my work, not just accepting a surface explanation. Mom nodded eagerly. Yes. I want to know everything. And starting with acknowledgement that this wasn't just ignorance. It was value judgments. You valued Kevin's success because it was visible and easy to brag about. You dismissed mine because it required effort to understand. That has to change. It will, Dad promised. It already has. We talked for another hour. I explained my career path, the children I'd met through site visits, the families whose stories drove my work, the researchers whose innovations I helped fund. They listened. Really listened. Asked questions. Took notes. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet. But it was a start. The real consequence for my family wasn't dramatic confrontation. It was the quiet distance I maintained, the boundaries I set, the knowledge that they'd have to earn their way back into my life. At work, the partnership expanded. We created the Maya Chin Pediatric Research Initiative despite my protests. I was invited to speak at conferences. Other foundations reached out for consultation. 6 months later, I got promoted to Vice President of Strategic Partnerships. That night, I called Mom to share the news. She cried. Dad asked thoughtful questions about what the new role would entail. It felt strange but good. This tentative rebuilding of something broken so long I'd forgotten what intact felt like. But I never forgot the lesson. My value wasn't determined by whether my family could understand or brag about my work. It was determined by the lives I touched, the programs I funded, the differences I made in spaces where success was measured in survival rates and family resilience rather than sales numbers and country club memberships. I was sophisticated enough. I always had been. Just not in the ways they'd been looking for. And that was their loss more than mine.